Now with an important big board, we have Chief David Brown here with us. Always good to see you, Chief Brown. And also Dr. Drew Pinsky is going to join us. We're going to talk about that tragedy at Penn State. So far, 18 fraternity members have been charged in the hazing death of sophomore pledge Timothy Piazza. And now a 911 tape has emerged, shedding more light on what happened. ABC's Gio Benitez is there at Penn State with details. And Gio, what can you tell us about the 911 tape?
Well, Robin, that call was made nearly 12 hours after Timothy Piazza had fallen down the stairs here at the frat house. And prosecutors believe that the frat brothers were trying to cover up their drinking. So listen to this 911 call because you're going to hear just how calm this student sounds.
We have a friend who is unconscious. He hasn't moved. He's probably in an ambulance.
Okay, how old is he?
He is 19? Yeah, 19 years old.
And was he breathing?
He is breathing.
Was there any alcohol or anything involved, do you know?
Yes, there is.
And you know, Jill, you hear that call and it just makes you realize, well, if this call were made sooner, we probably wouldn't be having this story right now. But this afternoon, more fraternity members are going to appear in court. And what can we expect from that?
Well, we're going to see 8 other students who are going to be facing charges like hazing. Other students had already faced involuntary manslaughter and assault charges, but one of the defense attorneys says, you know what, there was no intent involved in this tragedy.
All right, Gio, thank you very much. Going to bring in Dr. Drew now. Much has been made about the fact it took 12 hours before that 911 call was placed. And when you hear something like that, what goes through your mind? What was happening there?
Well, I personally am mortified when I hear that, and it's just a reminder that kids don't understand that you can overdose and die from alcohol just the way you can overdose and die from heroin. It's easy. And I've got to tell you, Robin, I've been on college campuses and I've talked to some of the medical personnel there, and they've chuckled about kids they've sent off unconscious with extraordinarily high blood alcohol levels. And I've asked one question. I've said, well, when the child got off the ventilator, which inevitably is what happens, did you send them a psychiatric referral? Did you get them evaluated for their alcohol consumption? And the caretakers essentially turned white and just stare at me. No, of course not, because alcohol is endorsed on college campuses.
Right, and we're going to talk to Chief Brown about that. But I talked to a former frat brother yesterday, Cordell Davis, and he said that he wanted to help, but that he felt intimidated. I want to play a bit of what he said and then get your reaction.
I got thrown against the wall. And I didn't know what to do after that. I felt kind of useless, and I felt like I had no say in the situation after that. I was told that I was overreacting, that I was crazy. So I'm questioning myself. I'm saying, do I really know what I'm talking about? Like, what do I actually know?
Dr. Drew, for people who aren't familiar with Greek life on campus, yes, there is some sort of hierarchy and pecking order, but still, that being said, there's one thing to cry fire. It's another thing to have the courage to actually put out the flame. I mean, what does it take?
Well, there are two things here. One, it was an unclear situation to him. But let me be clear. If you are out there and you're in college and you're drinking and you're around somebody who is unarousable, that is a medical emergency immediately. Not 12 hours later, right now. That person can aspirate and die right there. The other issue here is how humans respond to authority. There was a famous experiment at Yale called the Milgram experiments decades ago that showed that humans will respond to authority in extraordinary situations, particularly when they are unclear. So it makes perfect sense to me that this poor kid didn't know what to do and succumbed to the authority.
And Chief Brown, I want to bring you into this conversation, speaking of authority. And it's no secret that underage drinking and hazing goes on at these frat parties and around college campuses around the country. But is law enforcement doing enough to combat it?
Well, in this specific case, we're unclear of what law enforcement roles was in this particular incident because campus police have yet to be chimed in on this. But the grand jury report is clear that there was a history of hazing and forced drinking by this particular fraternity, so that the university officials should have known that this was a fraternity that should have been monitored more closely, should have had oversight. There are many unanswered questions, and these answers, these excuses that I've been hearing from these fraternity brothers, just hard for the family to hear and just flies in the face of the grand jury report.
What possible? I know you said it's hard to definitively give any particular answer, but there's got to be something, Chief.
Yes, I think university police officials ought to be monitoring these fraternities and their parties and all of their hazing, all of their functions, so that you can have much more strict oversight. Because the grand jury report was very, very indicting on this particular fraternity and the culture of fraternities at Penn State. So this is difficult to digest, that nothing could be done. And I think hopefully that the university will pay attention much more than we've seen in the past.
Chief Brown, thank you very much. Dr. Drew, I know you wanted to weigh in more on that, but the computer is about to take us off here, so sorry about that, sir. But
Gotcha.
thank you, Dr. Drew.
Thank you, Bo.